The Sega Genesis, the juggernaut that lit a fire under Nintendo's ass to launch the Super Nintendo, which gave us the 16-bit wars, which is by far the greatest competition in video game history. If you watched my previous videos, you'll know that the Sega Genesis is easily my favorite gaming console of all time, but I am far from owning every game in the console's library. Hell, I'm not even close, and honestly, I don't even care. There's just too many games to enjoy out there on other consoles. Why waste my time and space on games that don't pique my interest? But that's the beauty of collecting video games. There's always something out there that you don't know about. The original Sega Genesis library is right around 878 games, and with new games being released to this day, that easily puts it above 900, maybe even 1,000. With such a crazy number of games out there to experience, there's an amazing video game console library that's just waiting to get discovered by you. But it's the age-old debate with video games. To collect or not to collect? That 'tis the question. And in this video, we'll be talking about whether it's worth collecting for the Sega Genesis. Now, look, of course, any schmuck on the internet can sit there and tell you to get a Raspberry Pi and get access to every game there is out there. I mean, yeah, sure, that's very convenient for the average gamer, but that's not the point of collecting, am I right? That's like someone telling you not to collect vinyl records and to save your money and space and just listen to the songs on YouTube and Spotify.
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
We all know that there's just something special about playing on original hardware. It's hard to describe, but playing Super Metroid on the Nintendo Switch just doesn't have the same feel and vibe as playing on the original Super Nintendo with a controller. Of course, that's just me talking, and everyone's opinions differ. Plus, you have the purists out there that think playing on a CRT TV is the only way to go, and honestly, they're not wrong. But at the same time, there are other ways to play your games. Let me know in the comment section below if you're all about playing on that original hardware, or if you're all about emulation, or shit, do you still have your old OG console hooked up to the CRT TV through an RF connection? But hey, just like a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, there's no wrong way to play your games. Now, the great thing about older consoles is also the worst thing about it too. There are plenty of cheap, awesome games out there to collect, but on the flip side, there's also a decent chunk of expensive ones. It is what it is at this point with retro gaming. Honestly, it's probably better that a decent chunk of the games aren't cheap, or else I would probably own twice the amount, pissing off my wife to no end. So it's a blessing in disguise that I have to pick and choose what games to buy. And this holds true with the Sega Genesis. But it's not as bad as you think. Like I said before, with about 900 plus games total including new releases, there's only about 100 or so games that are worth over $100 complete in box. That's the game, case, and manual. That's actually not bad when you compare it to more obscure consoles like the Sega Saturn. Now loose carts? Shit man, maybe like 10 carts are worth more than $100. So to answer the question on whether or not you should collect for the Sega Genesis, my answer is fuck yeah! So now that we've decided that you should collect for the Sega Genesis, let's discuss what makes a good collection. Now, for me, I don't really understand the point of owning every single game in a console's library. That's not what a game library was intended for, in my opinion. There are different genres for a reason, because everyone has different taste, right? It's like playing Texas Hold'em in poker. You don't need all 52 cards in the deck to have a good hand. All you need is 4 to 5 cards to get a winning hand, which accounts for like 10% of the deck. That's all you need. The same holds true for an awesome collection on the Sega Genesis. Think about it, with like 900 games out there, having 10% of those games would put you at 90 to 100 games. Now that, my friend, is a solid collection. But do you really need 90 to 100 games to enjoy the Sega Genesis? Of course not. All that matters is enjoying what you got, what you like. Once you've had your fill, go out there and get another one and experience something else. Shit, sounds like dating in your 20s. Now look, I'm not knocking the collectors who go for full libraries. If you're that type of collector, God bless you, man. You do you, I respect it. It is awesome to own every game in a library and see it on a shelf. It must look awesome, but at the same time, it's just not my thing. But at this point in the game, if you're just getting into collecting and you're looking to own the entire Sega Genesis library complete in box, well, you better buy some loot for your wallet because it's going to get bent over a goddamn chair. But for me, I actually enjoy playing my games. I don't collect games just to collect them and make my shelf look good. If that was the case, I would own every single stupid shitty sports game that costs $2 for every single console. If a game doesn't appeal to me, I leave it alone. Let someone else enjoy it because it serves no purpose collecting dust on my shelf. And that's the way it should be in my opinion. Games are meant to be played, not sit on a shelf. And hey, look, I'm guilty of it too. There's a few games on my shelf that have been never touched before that are waiting my validation. I will eventually get to it, I swear to God. My backlog is not that bad. Look, overall, what I'm trying to say is that you don't need a large percentage of the console's library to have a good collection. Honestly, as long as you have a decent number of games in each genre, that makes a good collection. And there's so many genres too. Sports, shmups, run and guns, puzzles, racing, RPGs, platformers galore, strategy games, you name it. Don't let having a small number of games in your console's library dissuade you from collecting from this awesome gaming console. When I was a kid, I started off very small like everyone else, and I slowly worked my way up to 200 games, and I've been loving every minute of it. Now look, there are some titles on my list of games to buy, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the collection that I have. Besides new releases, I haven't bought a Sega Genesis game in like 2 years. I'm enjoying my library as it is. I think Hellfire is next on my list of games to buy, but man, that shit costs like $100, so I'm like, I guess I'm just waiting for the right time or, when I catch up on my backlog. But owning 30 games might be your magic number in having a great library. Look, don't get overwhelmed watching these hidden gem videos on YouTube or the top 100 Sega Genesis games out there and then being like, oh my god, I gotta get all of them. Just see what piques your interest and take it from there. And just remember, it's never too late and you're never too young or old to start collecting.